Good Friday morning. Well, afternoon. Who's ready to get their spooks on? I'll try to not fuck up the audio this time. I'll try, but there we go. Did I remember the sound this time? Yes, I did. I fucking did. Good. So let's jump back into it. Let's see. New? Who's new? Oh, he likes me a lot. Journal. History. Yeah. October 23rd. Morning dawn, bright and clear the following day. Although the air still feels muggy, and I miss the chilly autumn weather, it's one of the most rare weekends when I'm up even before my alarm rings. If it wasn't for Zach's call last night, I'd probably sleep in. When 9 a.m. rolls around, I'm already on my way to Armageddon Mansion. Yeah, we're keeping that going. To think that I have to go back again, I'd be lying if I said I'm excited. I don't have to anymore. Rose happily gave me paperwork duty when I volunteered. We're on the last phase of the sale, too. Well, almost. Papers to sign, documents to finalize, various other legalized to settle with the current owner and all that still. Never mind that its new owners wants everything done within a week, when the process typically takes more than that. They want it done? Well, we'll get it done. I really don't understand rich people. But money can do wonders. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd be able to push the process just a little more, like what they did to secure the house. The point is, I'm under no obligation to return to the house anymore. Running is an option, of course. I can now move on to another property and forget everything. However, at the end of the day, it's always my conscience that wins. What if something happens to those that seen the letter? Ash, Zach, Bella, Miss Claude. Writes, the guilt will follow me to my grave. The mansion looms as we approach. Whispers welcoming back, shadows calling. I hope this is the last time. They're engaging in a quiet conversation when I find them in the mansion's front gardens. But even familiar company is impossible to feel at ease here. No matter who I'm with, the feeling of being watched is still there. Like the very place itself is aware that it's trespassers. Zach, on the other hand, doesn't seem to notice. Or he simply doesn't care. Or he's already used to it. I can never tell with him. Sometimes, he's almost as hard to read as Ash. Almost. At least Zach doesn't ask as much patience as dealing with Ash does. And that says plenty about him. Miracle of miracles how the two of them end up being best of friends. He waves at me as I approach. True to his promise, Zach has also brought his friend with him. Father Norman. Somehow, I expected him to look older.
Oh, don't be surprised. They say people who have found their calling are getting younger these days.
Sorry, Father. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
No offense taken. Though I admit I'm a bit surprised. I didn't think someone would ask this house to be blessed after all these years.
You've heard of it, Father?
In passing. The occasional rumors and talk by the locals, nothing new. You don't spend years serving the church here without hearing a random hearsay here and there.
You never mentioned what you thought of those, Father.
Ah, but he who goes down to the grave does not come up. He shall never return to his house, nor shall his place know him any more.
But what I saw...
May not be what you think. It depends entirely on what you mean by it. If you're talking about spirit beings, angels, demons, then yes. Are we talking about the spirits of people who have departed? The word makes it clear that once the deceased has left us, they are gone. But of course, I didn't come here to bore you with a lecture.
No, it was enlightening, Father. Thank you.
He's a Catholic priest.
Just remember that a god who loves his children would never let them linger once the time comes.
That's what my papa often tells me.
Your father must be a good man. He raised you well, no doubt. Well then, shall we?
Sure.
Regardless of what it is, I'm sure the mansion's new owners would appreciate such sincere intentions. From a stranger, no less.
He lets Zack and I walk ahead. A relief. This way, he wants to see how tightly I'm clutching the straps of my bag. Father Norman's probably trying to put me at ease. But the worry, the cold, restless, foreboding feeling, has firmly lodged itself in my stomach, making its presence known with every step we take towards the house.
Hey, you okay?
This place gives me the creeps. Did we go up? He likes me a lot. It's hard to lie when Zack gives you that look. It's just there. The kind that implores a silent appeal. I'm not sure if he's even doing it consciously. Another breeze blows and I'm trying not to shiver, trying not to listen to the voices that may or may not be there.
Ugh, this place really gives me the creeps.
It doesn't seem more than an ordinary house to me, though. Damn, I should have brought my camera with me. I saw a few areas that'd be good for a shoot. You think the new owners will allow it?
Shh! What if you catch something? Or someone in one of the pictures?
It just means they want to be seen, doesn't it?
Don't ask for it.
It's not like we can stop them if they do.
You're really not helping, Zack.
All right. Sorry. Don't worry. I don't think whatever's inside this house will do anything. I'm here, yeah? I'll take care of them. Or I think I can.
You're not that scary, but thanks. I'll be sure to run behind you if I see one.
Ridiculous talk. Now, though the temporary perceived Island is more than welcome. He offers me a smile in return, the least he could do. And with a slight motion of his head, he gestures to us to move ahead, while my own fears are left forgotten for the time being. The things inside my bag clatter softly against each other while I rummage for the keys to the mansion. I should have heard a telltale jiggle by now. I didn't put it in my bag last night. Seconds later, I'm sitting on my heels, and one after another, I'm taking out everything from every pocket every slip. It would be a pain to put everything back later, but I'm sure just under these, nothing. Oh man, of all the times to forget.
Is something the matter?
No, I'm sorry, Father. I think I left the key.
No use coming up with excuses. And right after they've both taken the time to go this far away from the city, with a heavy sigh, I grab the door handle to pull myself up. A string of apologies ready for the tip of my tongue.
Careful, Bella!
We've spoken with the current owners. Well, technically, you're not yet the owners, but...
There's a brief moment of confusion, and then I'm falling. The momentum of the door swinging open pulls me back first into the mansion's foyer, before I can make sense of what's happening.
Ow, my back.
What the... Isabella?
No time to nurse my bruised back or make up excuses, because the next thing I know, Zack's gently pulling me upright by my arm. Rose looks down on me with a mix of apparition and something I couldn't quite place. I'd say it's relief, but... jeez. Good going, Isabella. Right after you volunteered to work on the papers. And standing behind her...
Ma'am Hannah! Mr. Wright!
Oh, Isabel. We always meet in the most interesting circumstances.
A complete understatement, darling. What are they doing in my house?
Stuff. Abruptly, he waves his hand at Zack and Father Norman like their presence is slight against his own.
I thought you said you wanted to do paperwork duty. What are you doing here?
Like a deer caught in the headlights. Unfair, Rose. That's putting me on the spot. And it leaves me no choice but to answer.
The reason why I'm here?
Well, spit it out, Lily. We don't have all day.
I'm just here to make sure everything is fine before you move in.
I'm so sorry, Mama. You said I'd go to hell if I lie. I likely will after this, but there's no other way. Well, it isn't entirely a lie. I am here to make sure no one disturbs them after I move in. It just so happens that what I'm checking for and trying to drive away is of the paranormal variety.
Oh? The house appears impeccably fine to me.
Mr. Wright shifts his eye around in a careful manner, as if he's looking for faults in every crevice of the house. The grin on his face, though, when he returns his attention to me, is similar to what my Kia, Jordan, had often given me when he's up to something. Usually a scare prank that inevitably ended in me crying. Never did forget the way my brother snared at me then. A part of me thinks that, perhaps, if I had been on the subject of mischief in the childhood, I would have grown a little braver.
Come on, little Lily. Lying doesn't do that cute little face any justice. I'm a very patient man. Now, why are you really here?
Right now, in the face of an almost identical expression, perhaps even crueler than what I'm used to, the lie I told falls apart.
The truth is, I was just thinking we could have the house blessed before move-in day.
And why would we ever need to have this house blessed?
For luck and protection.
I shrink under his scrutinizing gaze. For a second, I think he'll start shouting at me. Instead, he laughs. Not the mocking and jeering kind, but I'm wondering if he's hearing things right. I'd say he was amused, but I honestly couldn't understand what was so funny with what I just said. Was it really that weird? Wasn't it custom here? I wish Becca was here to explain stuff like this.
That's rich coming from you. When we saw Devlin Court, you didn't.
It's a small custom back home. I thought it would be nice to do something that would bring positive energy to the mansion, since this place has been empty for years.
And the papers, Isabella? I hope you did those first before this.
No.
Of course I did. It's almost done, in fact. But there are some items I still have to double check before finalizing everything. You know I don't sign without a thorough inspection. And well, this is what this is for too. I just thought it would be more efficient to do both at the same time.
Here I thought you didn't want to go back.
I don't.
A job is a job, Rose. Gotta do what you gotta do to make a living.
Oh, well, if that's the case, then go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Pish Posh.
No need to be so hard on her, Rosie.
Yeah, you
I
tell her.
personally think it's a nice touch. I was actually thinking of the same thing, but you beat me to it.
Darling, Buttercup, please. You know these things don't work.
Who the fuck calls your partner Buttercup?
No offense meant to the holy man, of course. That does not explain the nigger, though.
Whoa, what? All of a sudden there's an awkward silence that even Rose, of all people, seemed reluctant to break. Although a desire to do so is evident in the way that her eyes nervously shift to Mr. Wright. Meanwhile, Zack's grip on my shoulder suddenly tightens. He doesn't say anything further, but there's a conflicted look on him when I glance up. That's the face he makes only when he desperately wants to give someone a piece of his mind, but chooses not to do so, mostly to avoid confrontation or fanning the flames to an argument. He's always been like this. Even among his own friends, he chooses to take a dissenting stance despite holding options of his own. Not that I won't say anything, I know Mr. Wright's a client, but you can't just say that in front of other people, in front of Zack nonetheless. If Ashton was here, I know he wouldn't stand for it. And neither do I. There was a reason why bullies back home never touched my younger brother again after I gave them a taste of their own medicine. He might be inches taller than me, but I'm pretty sure I can still land a hit or two. Maybe. If only I'm not going to get in trouble at BRC for it. But before any punches could be thrown, Madame Hannah cuts in.
Lucille Mitchell-Wright.
Oh yeah, you know you're in trouble when they use your whole name. In a voice too firm, demanding his completed silence.
What?
Instead of answering, she merely crosses her arms and shoots her husband a sharp, disapproving glare. That seems to have done the trick. He immediately shuts his mouth, not before muttering a few inaudible words under his breath. At this, Madame Hannah could only sigh and shake her head.
Oh, give it a rest, love. Do you have a better idea? Who knows? Positive energy might even give us what we've been waiting for. Or some peace. Let them do their job.
What have we been waiting for? I don't think I was ever informed of.
Nothing you should worry about right now. Anyway, we've still got a few things we need to discuss with Rosie here. Over lunch? I hope you don't mind, Isabel. We'd love to take you with us, but...
Oh, no. Go ahead, ma'am. This'll take time. That's why there's 2 of us working on this.
Rose looks like she's about to murder someone. Probably me. At least she won't have to stay in a haunted house property. She's getting the better end of this deal if anyone's going to ask me.
Oh, wonderful. I hope the next time the 3 of us meet, it'll be over a closed deal, hmm?
Of course, ma'am. Please look forward to it.
Rose hurriedly hands me the keys to the house before leaving, mouthing reminders to secure the place and harmless threats about throwing her under the bus. I return it with a reassuring smile of my own, even if she's the only one who often forgets cheese. And just like that, gone. Just as quickly as they appeared, fleeting from one scene to the next, and leaving me wondering if this is simply what's typical for rich and famous. If so, I'd rather stay with my random apartment or little shack back home. They're still enjoying the smallest things after all. With a house this big, it's not surprising when the ceremony takes a few hours to finish. The sun is already high by the time we're gone through the last room. I can never say I'm a devoted follower of my own faith, even with Mama and Papa's teachings. But hearing every word Father Norman utters as we went around the house has put me at ease. All of a sudden, the mansion doesn't seem so scary anymore. Maybe there is an end to this. But perhaps this is the end. Father Norman bids us goodbye upon exiting the mansion grounds. He has business in the village nearby, he says. A minute gesture to reach out to the members of their parish every once in a while. It reminds me of a distant memory of helping hands and a few kind smiles that helped my family pull together when times was rough. But before he leaves...
Isabella, a word before I go?
No, go away.
Zachary hasn't been really forthcoming with your situation, and it is something I understand it wasn't his to share. But whatever burdens you, know that it's not a permanent fixture in your life. Besides, you have people to bear it with.
I bite back the harsh retort before they come out, asking with a smile as we wave the good priest off. His words, though, meant to comfort, has only left a bitter taste in my mouth. And if they don't believe you, what am I to do? A hand lands briefly on my shoulders, taking me out of my thoughts before they take a sullen turn. But my smile doesn't quite reach my ears when I turn to him.
Say, do you want to go somewhere?
Right now? Where to?
Anywhere in the city. I'll leave it up to you.
Sure, let's hang out.
It wouldn't hurt. I've got some stuff I need to buy. Groceries.
Groceries.
And there's a shop I want to check.
Is it real food this time?
Let me guess. Rebecca?
She's just worried about you. Even I can't eat that much instant noodles.
Think of it as a talent. Let's just go, Zach.
I smile. A real one this time. Devoid of any unpleasant thoughts. Regardless of what happened between us these past days, I don't want to think harshly of them. Zach had me waiting on a nearby bench upon arriving, prior to going off somewhere. He hasn't returned since. It's been a good 20 minutes of being left alone entirely to my thoughts. In this weather, the city park gives off a lazier and more languid vibe than usual. Where children are usually seen running around and playing, there are now people leaning back on their picnic blankets, simply enjoying the afternoon sun. The smell of food drifts from nearby carts, and if the wind blows in the right direction, one could catch the whiff of freshly trimmed grass. I'd gladly sleep on this bench if it wasn't waiting for someone. Soon enough, I see his hulking figure running towards me, carrying a medium-sized box in one hand and casually waving the other at me. He's panting when he reaches my bench. Sweat drips profusely from his forehead, but there's a grin on his face.
Sorry, the line was really long. Really long.
You didn't have to run. Sit down first.
Nah, I'm good. Didn't want to make you wait for these.
Is it donuts? I already knew what's in the blue box before he opens it. Cinnamon rolls! All 6 of them topped with white cream cheese glaze. The very same one I bought after I sold my first property. After I met Zach, Ash, and Becca. Funny how such a small thing can trigger a distant memory, no matter how mundane it is. I don't say no to free food. Why is he getting me these now?
What for?
He leans on the empty space beside me, wiping the sweat off his forehead before answering.
An apology. And his thanks. For yesterday and the other day.
You don't have to buy me anything, Zach.
You were upset. You haven't been yourself recently, and people kind of miss that, you know?
Are you just saying that, or...
No, really. Rebecca told me. You know how she is. Ashton, too.
Ashton was an ass. He should have been named Ashhole instead.
Ashhole.
He went a little overboard, yeah. I can talk to him if you want.
He'll still tease me about it, even if it's Rebecca telling him to stop. Besides, I can handle him.
Can you?
You always do. And yesterday, when you talked me through my little slump, I thought, hey, I want our old Isabella back. Are you still upset?
There are times when I wish Shaq had been my big brother. Or Becca, my older sister. Maybe life would have been a little easier then. Maybe Papa wouldn't be as sick as he is. Maybe. Maybe I wouldn't be alone here. Then again, if he is, if they were what I wished them to be, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met Ash, too. Life back home is tough, but for all that, I wouldn't change it for one selfish wish. In this city of 68,000 people, I have people I could depend on. 3 of them, in fact. When you think about it, You can compare the numbers to the odds of finding someone like them amidst this sea of nameless people. I'm lucky.
Thanks a lot for today, Zach. You didn't have to, but you did. I can always count on you.
Just me? No Ashton or Rebecca? Oh boy, they won't be happy to hear that. I don't mind being the favorite, though.
Nope, no favorites. But you cook better than both of them, so that's a plus.
It's always been fool with you, ain't it?
Don't put it like that! You're making me sound like a glutton.
I'm not saying you are, but it does feel good to know there's someone I can invite for food to be able to eat all of it.
Only that? I thought we were also art buddies.
Oh, that too. But the food thing really stands out when you think about it. You do eat a lot for someone your, size.
Low blow. I take pride in my height.
So, is it okay now? Do you feel better? Does it still scare you?
Yes.
A little. I'll be okay. I'll figure it out, somehow. It's not as bad as the other day, and Father Norman helped too. I should have brought something to thank him.
Oh, we could visit him anytime. He loves hearing from the young ones.
He isn't that old, is he?
Don't know. He doesn't tell. I think I might have seen his face somewhere before. I just couldn't recall when or where. Ash says he looks like his boss, so the bartender at the local pub if he squints. Don't take his word for it, of course. He might have accidentally inhaled something from the forensic lab again when he said that.
This time, the laughter that comes from the both of us is genuine. Back to the usual. Things may not be the easiest lately, but it certainly isn't the worst that has happened. We do end up sharing the cinema buns between us, despite Zach's insistence that it's only from me. But more than the food, there's a relief and contentment.
If you need anything, just ring, okay? Like when Ash annoys you too much. I'll help you with him, best friend or not.
No way. I can take him on.
Still an extra muscle wouldn't hurt, yeah? Just let me know, and I'll back you up.
Thanks, Zach.
My sister knows this one thing to shut him up when he's being his usual self. Ask me what it is whenever you want, and I'll spill it.
I don't think that's necessary, but thanks. I'll keep that in mind.
Who's his sister? Becca's not his sister. I don't know. He leaves me with a smile and a wave. Off to some new gig again. As for me, we still need to talk, Becca, Ash, and I. But petty arguments aside, like the adults we all are. This, however, is a start. No matter how small it might be. I just hope I can keep them safe. A light wind blows again, sending dried leaves swirling and the distinct smell of earth into the air. For the first time, the sunlight feels less harsh. Maybe a walk is good. I need to visit the grocery too. Come to think of it, wasn't there an art store that opened recently at the park? What? Cat? Where the oh, did I miss something? Okay, at least cat, that's what his collar says. It's an odd name to give a cat, in my opinion. But it speaks grace like one that carries it. It shows in the way he swifts his tail, and his eyes follow my hands with every movement. I'm not sure what he finds fascinating in me, to be honest. I wasn't the very picture of grace when he found me, after all. See, it skipped something. It wasn't loading something. Oh well. It was a bad idea carrying 2 heavy bags of newly brought art materials and groceries without help or a sure ride home. In hindsight, perhaps I shouldn't have bought all those at the same time. I didn't even make it past the park. And now I'm suffering underneath the glaring afternoon sun, hunched up on a park bench and drenched in sweat, in the company of a cat curiously watching my every movement. I hope it stays where it is. It's just a black cat. But back at home, they're considered ill omens.
Don't look at me like that. I can act graceful as well if I want to.
Not that I ever acted gracefully in my life, of course. Growing up with rowdy younger brothers and a sister does that. Or maybe it's the opposite. Mama used to call me a little troublemaker before. Well, graceful or not, there's no use mopping. A short breather and off home. Besides, it isn't like the company is bad, even if it is a cat. As long as it doesn't bite or crosses my path.
Well, where's your owner anyway?
He has one, doesn't he? An owner? That's what the collar is for, isn't it? A bandage is wrapped on one of his paws, though. I wonder what happened to it. Did he run away?
Well, if you don't have one, I won't be able to take you in. My apartment doesn't allow pets. I tried to bring one home before, a cat. Not black, of course. And Rebecca threw a fit before the landlady could.
I take a small package of sweets from one of the bags beside me and pop it open. As I'm about to put one in my mouth, he meows. My hand stops.
Do you want one?
Don't give sweets to a cat, you muppet. He doesn't meow again as I expected him to. Oh, sorry. I take his unblinking gaze as a yes. I shift the piece to my palm and hold it out to him wearily. He sniffs at it once, twice before.
Baruthia!
Oh, wait, you okay? Like a good properly trained pet, Borussia responds as soon as he's called. Recognition comes as soon as my head snaps in the direction of the voice. Miss Kola is hard to miss. That's what's with her height.
I'm sorry. Did my cat hurt you?
No, fine. Cat didn't hurt me.
Miss Santos, was it? I'm surprised to see you here.
Nice to meet you again, Miss Makala.
Makala.
Were you harmed in any way?
So you know your cat's dick?
I'm sorry. Veruthiel's not exactly fond of other people. Even run away from the veterinarian right now.
Oh no, he was just sniffing my hand earlier.
My Veruthiel's a she.
Oh gee, I'm sorry. She? All this time I thought... A pause in the conversation, if this can be called one, is uncomfortable. We're merely two people working different jobs for the same client. Frankly, meetings like this doesn't happen a lot, and if it does, a simple nodding of the head is enough. Let's talk about her cat. She... see, I don't know what these are.
I'm actually surprised you have a cat, Miss Makala.
And why exactly is that? There are a lot of people who have pets.
Yeah, but not a black one. I'm amazed you're taking care of one.
I don't understand what you're trying to get at. Is there a problem with my cat?
You're so Scottish.
No, not at all. She's very sweet. Just in other cultures, aren't they a sign of bad luck?
Back at home it is. My grandmother used to tell me stories about it and...
Nothing has happened to me so far.
Oh, she looks angry. Displeasure is evident on her face. Ah, of course. I've forgotten that for other people, black cats are an omen of good luck. Here you go again, running your mouth up, Isabella. I rack my brain for a way to remedy the situation, but she holds out a hand.
This is a good place to stop and end this conversation, don't you think so?
Well, I'm sorry.
It is good to see you again, Santos.
A complete dismissal, if I ever heard one. I watch her as she leaves, though she stops shortly before crossing the threshold separating the park and the street. She faces me again, looking like there's something she's forgotten to say.
By the way, about the Ermengarde mansion. With my clients. It's the rights, I mean. I hope you don't mind me asking, but has the deal been finalized?
There's still a few papers they need, but the house is more or less theirs now.
Ah, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Wait, about the mansion. The
letter. The same one they saw. Whoever she is, she's asking for help. Someone. I want to tell Miss Mahana that the urban legends aren't just legends anymore. They're real. She's not going to believe me.
Don't mind me. I need to go too. Have a good day, Miss McCullough.
Makala. I hastened to pick up all the bags I left on the bench and ran as far as my legs can take me. In that moment, what I'm carrying in my hands weighs far lighter than when overwhelming guilt trying to consume me. Home. I want to go home. Anywhere where I can't be reminded of the house, of her, of my own cowardice. Food tastes not appetizing tonight. A pity. One would think that someone who had been continuously binge on instant noodles would find a home-cooked meal enjoyable. But it isn't. Hunger isn't what is gnawing at me tonight. Neither are my sore muscles. The TV runs loudly in the background, but it says barely registers in my brain. It's hard when things you try to forget keeps returning to the forefront of your mind. It distracts you, eats at you, devours you. I wish this could stop. I wish I was the one who picked it up. I wish it was someone else.
In other local news, a woman was found dead in her home yesterday evening. Luxbourne police officials are currently investigating the crime scene, but has classified the case as homicide.
Huh?
The victim, identified as Rose Pamela Cooper, 33 years old,
What?
working as a real estate agent.
Rose?
Discovered lying in a pool of blood in her two-bedroom flat with the words "Help me" repeatedly written on the walls.
What? No. No. This isn't what I want. This isn't supposed to happen. None of this is supposed to happen. No one's supposed to die. No, those are just stories, right? Legends. That's what everyone has kept telling me, so why? And I... Immediately I rushed to my study table in search of my phone. My hands, cold from dread, clung tightly to it as soon as I touched its edges. A piece of folded paper, the letter, lying unassumingly beside it, slips to the floor where I pick up the device. But I paid no mind. There's more important things. Right now, I need to call her. I need to call her. I was with her. I was just with her not long ago, and she was okay. No. This isn't Rose, I'm sure of it. I just talked to her, and a sob escapes me, and hot tears begin to blur my vision. One after another, they trickle down, weighted by the same guilt I refuse to admit I've been carrying from the start. The same I've been hiding from. The same one that put the people I care about in danger. My hands shake as I navigate to Rose's number on my contact list. She'll answer right, that's why she always does. She'll pick up and tell me to turn down the waterworks and call me a wuss afterwards.
She'll answer. Please answer, Rose.
Again and again I dial. Whispering. Praying. Pleading.
Come on, Rose. Don't do this to me. Please pick up. I know you're there, Rose. You're not dead. Please tell me you're not.
This adds to the series of deaths and disappearances that has plagued Luxbourne in the recent years. The authorities are currently looking at a possible link with the notorious Anselm Butcher case.
The TV runs loudly in the background. Deafening static sound from my phone speakers. But in my ears I can only hear the screams, her pleas, her whispers. We're not safe. A buzzing sensation jolts me awake. My body still wants sleep to forget what I've heard, what I saw last night. But it's there, nudging, prodding at me. Slowly, I become aware of how awkward my position is. And the aches are accompanying sleeping in a curled up position the night before. If I even slept at all. The memories are impossible to forget now that Rose is gone. This is easy when you say it out loud. Instead the words weigh heavier on me each time. She's gone. Gone because of me. Gone because of one letter I was too curious to look at. I should be more careful. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I should have destroyed it before anyone else had gotten involved. I should have... The notification light on my laptop blinks insensely, mockingly, when I look at it. As if it's calling me back to the sense of normalcy. Check in nevertheless, out of habit more than anything. To all BRC employees, in the light of the recent events, there will be an all-staff emergency meeting from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Attendance is a must. Company changes, new currency policies will be discussed during the meeting. Everyone expecting to bring a copy of their own attendance log and sales report for the last 6 months to be submitted to your respective managers. Can I look at anything else? No. If this were one of those typical days, I'd happily comply and get myself off to the office. Today my limbs are just heavy. On one hand, going to keep myself busy, take my mind elsewhere. On the other hand, the place itself is a stark reminder of what my own fears have cost me. Fuck it. Go to work, keep busy. Moppy won't get me anywhere. This is just like one of those things, isn't it? You deal with it one smile no matter how bad things are, and hope for the best. Although my whole body feels like lead and my limbs are sore, I push myself away from the chair and head to the shower. The letter I dropped on the floor last night flutters open as I pass by, unfolding for no one else but me to see. Every word written on it glares back at me. They snare. They ridicule. Like living beings fully aware of what they've done. With a huff, I pick it up and shove it back in my bag. Perhaps with more anger and frustration than I'm used to showing. This too, I'll deal with. Somehow, I'll find a way and make things right. I have to. Before it takes more people from me. Even if I must do it on my own. Papers rustling, phones ringing, feet shuffling. Overall today looks like a typical working day at the Briar Realty Corporation. Except it isn't. The air is thick with tension and unspoken questions. No doubt everyone present has already heard about Rose. If they missed last night's report, they're likely to see it in the morning news, in the papers, or on various sites on the internet. Everywhere is a bitter reminder. In fact, everyone's giving me a wide berth, as though they were mere mentioning of Rose would be enough to trigger something in me. It's appreciated, but it only serves to create a bigger hole in the place Rose has left. After lunch, my boss calls for a meeting. I don't have to look up from my work to know what it's about. He's in a strange, pensive mood today, probably out of respect for a dead colleague. Oddly, I'd appreciate more if he just shouted at me today. Anything is better.
I'm sure you've all heard of what happened to Miss Cooper. She was a valued member of our team and she will be missed. There's no date for a funeral yet, but those who wish to attend, kindly speak with your respective supervisors. By the way, has anyone heard about our still AWOL staff?
They're dead too.
None? HR, you know what to do. Santos, a word? In my office?
Santos. At the end of it, I've been given the entirety of Rose's workload, including finalizing the rights papers, and have been promised an ample compensation for my efforts. I think he expects me to be happy about it. Instead, I immerse myself in my work. I have to anyway if I want to forget. Time flies when you do, and by the time I give notice, it's already late. Everyone's already gone, leaving me in the company of a radio and a member of her janitorial staff. I don't even know his name. Rose likely does. She remembers people easily like that.
The Luxbon Police Department continues its search for the following reported missing people.
The radio blares one name after another. Hold on a second. Missing? Aren't they? Still, I have to check. Frantic, I turn back to my desktop. Low tapping of my fingers against the keys fill the office for the better part of my shift as I look through everything. The background about the place is history from the current owners and list of employees hired by BRC. And I'm right. Of course I am. BRC may have a lot of staff. They may have a lot of agents hired, but I don't remember those names anywhere. After all, they're also part of the crew who worked with us in preparing the mansion for the open house. And then, letters? Oh, that can't be. I'm hoping it's not what I'm thinking.
But Rose is...
Something snaps in place in the fraction of a moment. These people, Rose, the letter.
I need to... No, if it's like this, they still won't believe me. I have to make sure of it first.
Evidence doesn't lie. That's what Ash often says, right? If I prove, then maybe. I don't want to get my hopes up yet. But maybe there's still a way I can save them. The letter, my phone, papers, anything that will be useful. I grabbed them all and stuffed them in my bag. I can't stay here. There's something I need to do. There's something those people should. The noise cuts sharply through the room, stopping my hand short from cramping a pen into my bag.
Hello? Anyone there?
Someone must have left their printer open again. I may be in a hurry, but if I don't turn it off, another person is certainly going to have a fit tomorrow for wasting company resources. Most of the time it's Rose who does the nagging, but... The clicking of my pen in my hand is a welcoming distraction as I search for the said object. Each stride my feet takes also echoes throughout the empty workplace. I've lost sight of the janitor minutes ago, and with me being the only one left, the tapping of my feet against the wooden floor is something I soon learn to appreciate. It doesn't take me long to find it. By the time I turn it off, 5 pages are already strewn about on the ground. The paper tray also been left ajar. Sighing, I pick up each of it to put somewhere proper. But the pages that grieve me next makes my blood run cold. The chill makes its way up my spine is as numbing as the day in the attic. The sheet crinkles on my tense grip. All I can hear is my breathing as it grasps through my gritted teeth. But before I can even gather myself, take the first steps out of here, total darkness suddenly envelopes me. And as if hearing every horrid thought running inside my head right now, something snaps. Oh, that was a horrible sound. A soft creak grating through the thin veils of stillness that has descended into the room. Every muscle, every bone in my body goes rigid at the sound. Familiar. So familiar now. Yet my own treacherous curiosity still presses me to take a careful peek over the cubicle's wall. It's her. Standing in the only exit of the office, albeit facing away from me. She doesn't even need to turn around for me to know it's the same misshaped face, tattered clothes, unsightly gait. Same person in the attic. I take a step back, the pen I'm holding slips from my hand and her entire head turns. Ah, oh, fuck me. You creepy. A scream almost escapes my mouth and I duck under my table as quickly as I can. Is this gonna be an event thing? My heart is pounding hard against my chest. I can hear the bone-chilling sounds of her walking, the weird clicking that follows her, and telltale squeal of something wet as she walks towards me. Nearer and nearer. Sounds slowly getting louder. The only thing keeping the whimper from escaping me is my hand as it covers my mouth. Someone please save me. Anyone. I close my eyes, muttering a constant stream of prayers, all while attempting to steady my own breath. Please, please don't let her hear me. Oh. Ah, fuck. Fuck me! Ugh. Fuck! I'm dead.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Sorry, Isabella.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
When the last lines of my prayer has left me, all that remains is a hush. None of her footstep, nor those chilling sounds she makes. Only silence. Is it safe? Another second passes, and when nothing comes... What? Jeez. Ha 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 ha. Oh. See, I was prepared this time. Fucking hell. How many times do I have to do this? Fuck. Ugh. Second minute stretch out before me agonizingly. Is she gone? Slowly I open my eyes to take a peek. I don't dare move or make a noise. Why is my relationship new with someone? Who is my relationship new with? I don't know. I don't dare to move or make a noise. In the face of such terror, I can only beg, let out a silent pleas to whoever is out there. Please, please, don't let her notice. I want to live. Excuse me? It's far too easy to get them to pay attention and erupted. They hang on to my every word and follow my every move. All of it would have been shifting as I've grown to use such theories. Most of them are respectful, some of them are hostile if we're honest, and a few are downright inappropriate. After all, I am.
On a right!
I can't leave Isabella like that. Oh god. There's a moment of agonition as a familiar, whilst the welcoming face approaches me with a suggestive smirk on his face. Of course, I have to keep a benevolent smile and greet him as I greet any good friend. After all, this man can turn heads, being famous for his own right.
Officer Lee! What a pleasant surprise. I didn't think you'd have the time to attend tonight's party.
He's more Luke's friend than mine, really. I'm quite sure I only invited his wife. Much like I am the only friend with the Chief Inspector because of Luke. Luke is only friends with Rochelle because of me. Unlike how I treated Lee, however, Luke never hid his amniosity for the Lee monarch. It was an odd sort of friendship, where we would have awkward double dates. I don't even recall his first name. It started with an N, I think. I might be wrong. Aside from being Chief Inspector of Luxembourg Police, his wife, Rochelle Lee Nevans, owns a General Electricity Company. Fridges and freezers, mostly.
Oh, I always have time for my favourite socialite couple. Might I say, you look positively ravishing tonight.
Oh, thank you. I do my best.
I see the husband isn't with you.
The way he eyes me up and down is enough to make my skin crawl. I just wish Luke is here to fend off more unseemly of our peers. You know the ones. Men who are just a bit too friendly, staring too long at my assets, and getting close just because my husband is not there. And to think they have the gale to do this at my own party. In my own house, might I add. But like any high society woman worth her salt, I know how to handle it with grace and dignity.
I suppose you are looking pleasant as well. Luke's busy with work, unfortunately. Rochelle isn't here?
A shame. I do hope he isn't causing you much trouble. That husband of yours can be a bit daft sometimes, acting like he's still some young bachelor. The wife sends her regards and her apologies, but something came up with her doctor and she needed to attend to it. You know her, being pregnant and all.
We make small talk. Rather, I'm forced to do so, as she wouldn't leave my side after finding his place there. Much to my chagrin, I've been what is all these weird words? From a few who flock in hopes of flattering, for I can tolerate them far better than Lee. He's a nice enough person, I adore his wife, who's obviously the brains behind the two. But there is something unsettling about him. I do not trust him as much as I want to. He regals to me tales of Luxembourg Police Department, a different affair to the usual gossip I'm privy to, though I loathe to admit, it's interesting nonetheless. I expect the topic of business to die out quickly, which it would be understandable enough due to the confidential nature of his work. But oh boy, was I wrong.
So, wearing civvies, I steal and drive off with one of the police mobiles, right? In the mirror, I see the mutant chasing on foot and screaming about theft. The look on his face was priceless when I parked in the garage.
Oh my. You made him chase you all the way home for a prank. What did Rochelle have to say about that?
Rochelle has a strange love-hate affair with Lee. He's a married man who did not grow up past his early 20s, judging by the way he acts. Surprisingly enough, they've been married for a good 20 years. A lifetime if you compare it to my marriage of 7 years with Luke. I, on the other hand, well... Luke is not Lee. I would be happy about that, I suppose. Although, my darling did have his moments.
Hey, the wife pulled my ear and gave me a good talking to, though. Besides, we live in a flat a block away, so it wasn't much of a grand chase.
Weren't you living in a house near the countryside?
Moved for work, you know. Or you probably don't.
No, I don't. But a flat in downtown. I suppose if that's what you like.
Oh, it's horrid. Hate that tiny place, no matter how convenient it can be for work. 55 square yards are not enough when you need to get away from the wife. I wouldn't mind a place away from the city. Even started looking at the ads. I spied an interesting lot, actually. Heard it was finally put up for sale. Or that something mansion, you know the one with all the ghost stories.
I know what he's talking about. There are really only a few urban legends around here. It's,
The Ermagerd mansion?
Ermagerd?
That's the one. Worthy of a king it is. I'd buy it myself, but Rochelle would only gripe if I brought it up to her. Not to mention all the expenses a place like that. It'll be a real fixer-upper. You also have to find someone willing to work there with how superstitious people can be.
If it becomes a problem, just hire someone to do an exorcism.
Actually, I do know of someone who could be up to the task. You remember the Ludgates party at their Christchurch summer residence?
Of course. It was an excellent soiree. Everything was so classy, too. Such good taste.
Oh, that place was a pigsty until they hired out this interior designer and they turned it into a bloody palace. She worked for the Exodus for their apartment in Soho too, and they recommended her when we were looking up pieces for our beach house in Porto Colom. I think I have a business card, right? No, I must have left it in my other jacket. Anyway, she's called, what's her name? McCullough, Marianne, I believe, yes. But truly, if anyone were to get that place in McCullough, well, they'd be the envy and the talk of the town.
Well, if you put it that way, I might just snatch it up for myself. This place was starting to feel a bit small lately anyway.
Sure. A 3-story penthouse might not fit the definition of small for some people. Okay, maybe a lot of people. But it isn't big enough to have a grand party in. As it is, I only invite about 30 people to this one. It's already feel cramped in here. It certainly would be nice if I didn't have to ride an elevator up and down several floors before I can get anywhere as well. All Luke's words, not mine. Besides, I have been looking for a good anniversary gift. Luke might like this one. Where is he anyway? Luke is dressed to the nines, as he usually is, and he looks ready for whatever the day will throw at him. His butler and valet waits at his side, just in case he isn't ready. He isn't as ready as he looks. Oh sure, that is normal. What has confused me is the fact that he's on his way out of the penthouse, considering we won't have anywhere to go until much later.
Where are you going?
I am to attend the Triad Autumn Tasting. I do believe I informed you of this 2 weeks ago.
Yes. And might I remind you that I had stricken that off your schedule? Because 1, the doctor told you to stop consuming so much alcohol. And 2, I informed you a few days ago about the open house we are going to attend in its place. I've even found this marvelous interior designer, Mary Ann McCullough.
It's a 3.5-hour drive to Cardiff. I don't have time for this.
Wait, this is supposed to be in the UK? I need to screenshot that and show Helen, because she's not here. Cardiff.
This is like that little party you threw all over again. You don't inform me of it, and you expect me to stay and be a gracious host when I have business elsewhere. You know how I operate, Hannah. Unless this was penciled in, I am sticking to my schedule.
If I may intrude, the madam is correct. Your physician did insist you moderate your drinking, unless you wish to incur acute pancreatitis. And you did have this open house penciled in last Wednesday morning.
Thank you,
Bollocks.
George.
I don't remember doing so.
Well, you did. While very hungover, in fact.
He did. Moaned about me being too loud, but gave in after some pushing. Perhaps that was a bit too cruel and manipulative of me, but...
Whose side are you on?
Come on, Luke. You promised we'd do whatever I want this weekend.
Gordon Bennett, fine. I am giving this house tour of yours a chance. But if it proves to be a waste of time, I am going to Cardiff, and you are going to take a cab home. Are we clear?
Just a bit of husband and wife tit for tat, isn't it? All couples have their arguments. Once the honeymoon phase is over, as they call it, reality sets in that you and your partner might not always see eye to eye. Perhaps it's been the years. Some of them is nothing to scoff at.
I just cannot bloody believe I agreed to this. I was really looking forward to the Triad tasting.
Though sometimes, I think it's something a bit more than just simple disagreement, and I had to stop myself from wondering where we went wrong.
There's always the Triad Christmas tasting in Manchester next month, and that'll only be an hour and a half drive.
Hey, in Manchester. Okay. Have I been neglectful? Have I offended? Have I acted shamefully?
Yes, but Cardiff.
Certainly, any problem can be discussed. As long as he doesn't turn me away.
Well, there goes my good mood. Are you happy now, Hana?
Yeah, no.
Yes, I am very happy, Luke. Because for once in a very long time, we are doing what I want. I'm ecstatic. Understood? And this would be perfect if you stop acting like a child who needs their nappy changed. We will be leaving after lunch for the Ermengarde mansion. You are going to park your rear in the car and keep mum. And you are going to behave during the tour.
Needless to say, Luke looks a bit shocked after my little outburst. He opened and closed his mouth a few times, struggling to reply before he crosses his arms to look like, well, a mopping child.
Any more rules for this little excursion of yours, Your Highness?
No wine.
No wine? Unacceptable! I am already not allowed to the tasting, and you would deprive me of that simple pleasure?
If I see you take one sip today, I will put the stocks under lock and key. Do you understand me?
Don't forget the bottles he keeps in his dresser.
Oh, he has a drinking problem.
Whose side are you on?
How many times in one day can you ask that?
Apparently, a lot.
As many times as I need you, traitor!
The ride to the mansion is quiet, with Luke having stared out the window the entire way, not paying attention to anything around him. Meanwhile, I'm conflicted. I don't know if I should apologize for changing his plans like that. By the time we arrive at the mansion, I see his eye lighten up in genuine interest. Apologizing is the last thing on my mind. The whole affair with the Ermengarde mansion is certainly an interesting experience. The place has been renovated and restored by the owners so that they can claim to be acceptable standards. Excuse me. The mansion itself looks like something benefiting a fairy tale or a period piece. It's tastefully decorated and with a little bit of love and attention. I'm sure it can be a place Luke and I can call home. And numbers of other prosperity buyers has come from the powerful and wealthy of Luxembourg certainly did not disappoint, making this estate a prime priority. The ladies are amongst the group that went with the Rose Woman, and saw a few other noticeable faces, although I did not really feel like mingling. Unfortunately for every one of them, the rights are interested in buying. What's been bugging me in my mind, however, is that Isabelle. What's her problem? I still don't quite understand what is happening. One moment she's scrambling to give us the papers to finalize the sale. Then she's planning on some sort of prank letter or another. The second thing on my mind is how touchy my darling husband is being towards the poor dear. I cannot even plaster a smile on my face, a horrid scowl taking its place. There's no way I can pretend nothing's wrong as I hum.
And I'm sure little Lily here would certainly appreciate it if you remove your pretty hands from her, darling.
He's quick enough to distract his hand, which is all the little girl needs as well. Well, for lack of a better word, escape.
I think I need to step out for a while. I'll be back.
My partner follows, shouting after her without hesitation. There's an awkward air amongst us as we're left in the wake of whatever that was. The others murmur and gossip with each other, speaking of the poor daft girl and telling tales of whoever was not audience to act in the first place. It doesn't take long before the woman rose, to return and pull us aside into the study for what I'm rightfully assuming is damage control. She invites Marianne in too, hoping to apologize to her as well. But the woman refuses, saying she's not one of her clients anyway. That leaves me, myself, Rose, and Luke. The last all too eager to make himself comfortable in a study he's no doubt already claimed as his own.
I can't apologize enough about what just happened. Please forgive Isabella. She's been under a lot of pressure lately. She's young, and all those rumors about this being haunted just got to her head. And it must be this terrible heat, too. Not a drop of rain for days now.
Oh, it's fine. The poor girl must feel so embarrassed about what she just did. But I say, let bygones be bygones. After all, she's only a child. She looked, what, 19?
A sharp look and accusing look at those words. After all, he tried flirting with the girl. The nerves of him. And not only that Isabella girl, but also Marianne, and Rose too. What kind of husband would think that it's even remotely good idea to make moves on 3 different women while his wife stands there? Did he drink while I wasn't looking?
She's a bit older than that. But again, I apologize. And if there's any way I can make up for what just happened, just...
I know what you can do. Be a darling flower and get us one of those bottles you plan to serve. Pop it open.
We were planning on serving some champagne. I can get that.
That would be lovely. Much obliged.
You're not supposed to be drinking.
Do you want a glass as well, Ms. Wright?
Oh no, I'm fine. I really shouldn't be drinking right now.
And Luke shouldn't be either. Right now, I'm just too tired for any sort of argument. I don't have the heart to scold him in public as well. I'm certainly not his mother. I just want to get this horrid day done with and go home and sleep. Perhaps I even have a strong cuppa before I head off to bed. Yes, that sounds nice. When Rose comes back with the champagne, I beckon her over. As I've told her partner before, I have every intent of acquiring this house. I might as well, even if I have a second thought about getting it for Luke. The moment we, the Wrights, have expressed interest in this place, we've had our eyes set on us. If you don't buy it, it might as well be the signal that busybodies gossiping about how we may or not have lost our fortune. Regardless of the fact that it is false, image is everything when dealing with these people. These are the unspoken rules of people such as ourselves. And besides, I really did like the place. Why, everything here is absolutely wonderful. Well, except this ugly painting in the study. It's beautiful. It looks like a bad fake of an Edvard Munch painting.
Here's the deal. I'm willing to pay 10% higher than your listing price. If anyone tries to outbid us, just add another 5%. I doubt anyone can, of course. Or, you know what? Just add 15% to the listing price, and we can sign all the paperwork now.
I guess, if that's what you want. That won't be any trouble. I don't have all the papers now. Didn't think this would be a quick sell. I'll have copies sent to you so you can look over them. And if you'd still like to finish the rest of the tour with Isabella's group, you're more than welcome to.
No, I think we're good here. We'd appreciate a private tour of the place a lot more, I think.
All right. Should I let Marianne in, then?
Marianne? Oh, right. She's been waiting outside the study this whole time, hasn't she? I need to have a little chat with her to move this little mansion project forward.
Please do.
There's a look of apprehension when the other woman enters the study. Yet, like a professional, I see the moment when she steels herself and masks her worry. Admirable.
We have this project then?
Of course. Will you be needing anything from us?
Having the floor plans would be a great start, just so that I can look at them beforehand. And if you could tell me when you're available for a meeting so that I can include it in my calendar?
Oh, is a meeting really all that necessary, Marianne? I guess we can send Johans to help you out. You two can start by getting rid of this ugly painting.
A hush falls upon the room at my request.
What painting?
And lo and behold, the painting is gone. What the hell? In its place a mirror stands, which leaves me to look at my own confused expression.
Odd. Well, no matter. Back to the topic at hand. Marianne, dear, we are simply far too busy to meet up.
Fuck it.
But I guess we can free up a day to meet with you. I don't really need another maudlin Monday reading about Maury anyway. The book club can function without me for one day. What time shall we be seeing each other? How does lunch sound?
Besides, my house is a higher priority over book club. Why, we can hold the next meeting in this place. Surely the beauty and grandeur of it all will inspire spirited and lively debaters about whether modern-day writers should match up to the classics. I might as well clear off the rest of my week to handle whatever affairs spying this mansion requires of me. Any social activities can be put off until the Ermagood, rather, the Right Mansion's great debut. I'll have my fill of great parties and gatherings, especially when I organize them myself.
That sounds good. Although, with a project of this scope, we might need most of the day to tackle your concerns. A more thorough inspection of the place is also preferable.
Breakfast then! It's a date.
It's really not.
All right, Monday, 10 o'clock sharp. We'll see you then.
Actually, Marianne suggested that we meet at 9, but who's even awake at that unholy hour? I was lucky enough to wake up this morning before Luke went all the way to Cardiff. I say goodbyes, shake hands, make it clear without outright saying it that we now own this house. By the time we left the mansion grounds, sunset is almost upon us.
So, you really want to buy this place then? That's a bit of a big impulse buy, even coming from you. Not that I'm complaining.
Well, I'm glad you're not complaining like you usually do. It's a right and proper Christmas miracle, isn't it? Hannah has finally done something right.
I refuse to look at him, staring at the passing scenery instead.
Hey, Buttercup, what's with this cheek?
Rose, Lily, Mint. The nerve, Luke, the nerve!
A nerve!
Is that what this is about? 1, that woman's name was Rose. And 2, you know I don't mean a word of that empty flirting.
And it's still the principle of things, Luke. I understand if you try to woo them to get what you want when it seems that I'm not looking. But I told you once before not to do it when I'm there.
Luke dealt with other women in the past to get what he wanted. Sometimes I have my doubts. I really want to believe that I'm an exception, that he's not using me like how he used other girls. I'm having a hard time believing that now. And it isn't just a shameless flirting. There's something about that Marianne woman, as if Luke is familiar with her. As much as it shames me, it makes jealousy rear its ugly head. I am, suffice to say, ticked off.
Really? I forfeit my trip to Cardiff for this, and you're still not happy.
Oh, trust me, Luke. I am very happy. Very happy that, for once, we are doing something that I want. Can you not see the smile on my face?
It's only when I let loose those words that the truth hits me like a slap in the face. And by the looks of it, it seems to have the same effect on my dear, darling husband. It has always been Luke wants to do this and Luke wants to do that, hasn't it? I don't even remember the last trip we went to, which was on my own choice. Choosing without needing to get the man's approval. On the other hand, I was pulling along to every single expectation he wished to tackle, and I never objected. The rest of the ride home is spent ignoring each other, pretending the other one doesn't exist. Arriving at his penthouse, my first order of business is getting into bed. Forget a hot bath and forget the tea. I just want to bury myself in blankets and forget everything in my slumber. It seems that Luke has the same idea as he tags along behind me. But there's something I'm not allowed the moment I pass through the door.
Out.
What the bloody hell, woman? This is my bedroom too!
Luke stands flabbergasted as I deny him entry to our chambers. His pillows lie on the cold tiled floor away from the warmth of our soft down bed. My gaze promises him the same fate if he does not budge on this matter.
Don't even try to argue, because I am very cross with you, Luke Wright. You can take the second bedroom or the guest room if you wish, but I do not want to see you at all for the rest of the night.
Johans!
Our butler wanders over, a curious expression on his face. He doesn't quite hurry, moving at a relaxed pace no matter how angry his master sounded.
No, you are not allowed to sleep in my room, sir.
That's not what I mean! Help me talk some sense into her!
There is no sense in questioning her right to be angry, sir. So, if I might be excused, I'll go prepare the second bedroom for you.
I have to keep a straight face as he stumps away in defeat.
Mutiny! This is mutiny! The system is being upturned, and the people are rioting, and everything is left asunder.
It isn't every day that Luke is rendered speechless by someone he considers inferior. He yields to another authority without an ulterior motive. His pride just doesn't... Just blah, blah, blah. I do keep telling the man to treat his people better. He may throw whatever fit he wants, but he will not getting his way tonight. Victorious is celebrated by jumping face first into our bed. Undignified, yes, but nobody's here to judge me anyway. Right? Nobody's here to tell me what to do. Yet, as I succumb to sleep, I can hear them whispering to me. Calling for me. They want me. Need me. They drown me, pull me down, and suffocate me in their embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss of it awaits, inviting yet foreboding. They're calling to me from in there, aren't they? And I do want to help, I do. And when I try to reach out, something pulls me back, like a hook sinking itself into my stomach. And I break through the surface with a gasp. Alone in bed and without Luke to hug the covers, I swat in the cloth and linked with sweat. It takes me a while to entangle myself and kick them off. Both the bed and I am a right mess by the end of it all, but I'm more than eager to just get up and go out for some fresh air. I went along fast, didn't I? The day passes had gone by a blur. We hadn't talked much, Luke and I, aside the necessity. In fact, we hardly talked beyond the topic of acquaintance of properties. Properties being the mansion, obviously. Everything has been so busy I haven't talked to anyone outside of business. It is just so stressing. Someone can understand my need for a good chat, preferably over a good meal. There are times when any decent, emotionally healthy and socially acceptable person needs a good friend. One who will talk to them without conversations degrading or turning into an argument. Bearing a nearby friend. I have an interior designer under a confidential agreement to listen to me.
Up, higher, come on now!
The place is bustling with movers, carrying furniture here and there, along with several trunks of personal belongings taken from a penthouse. I can hear Luke barking at them from the other room, making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen.
Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It is hard to tune him out. The walls did not do a good job at muffling him at all. But then again, it's Luke. I would still hear him ranting, even if we were on the opposite side of the mansion, and I'm wearing earplugs.
I'd really like to thank you for inviting me to breakfast, Mrs. Wright. But I already ate, so I should really go back to work.
Nonsense! You arrived so early, you must not have gotten a proper meal. Our butler has made a surprisingly lovely bubble and squeak.
Bubble and squeak?
Sit, sit! I'd situate us in the dining hall, but it is a mess right now.
Sorry, Stretch.
Oh, Johans!
The man in question appears, ready with the tray as we start to set the table for us. We sit in silence as we are each served a plate. Bubble and squeak. Top a nicely poached egg with cherry tomatoes and other garnished, adoring the edge of the plate. Bubble and squeak. Cup and a saucer and a teapot with some Earl Greys placed down for Marianne, and I ask for orange Julius. Wow, what's changing all these names? Are you so posh you have to change names? Shit.
How are you liking the project?
Drop that vase and I'll have your head! I know it's only an 8 million yen vase, but I swear,
Well, it's certainly a fun challenge, incorporating the designs of a Jacobean manor and the functionality of a modern household. I have ideas I would like to suggest, by the way, about what to use the second bedroom for. I have been informed of your goddaughter and thought a kid-friendly room might be in order.
You read my mind. I was actually going to bring that up. Oh, that would just be so lovely, Marianne. That way, Kylie can bring her friends over as well. And a good friend of mine, Rochelle, is expecting a baby. So, why don't we think about putting a crib in there too? I can just imagine little ones running around, filling this place with the pitter-patter of their feet. We'd have to make sure they don't trip and fall on the stairs, though.
We won't be able to finish everything up until after the party. But we'll have it ready by then, so that all we need to do is to move in the furnishings.
Yes, that's plenty fine. It's not like we're in a hurry to have it. And we wouldn't want the workers to disturb the guests or the other way around, do we? Just make sure it's presentable. You know, in case a guest snoops about.
Of course. As for the kitchen you wanted, I've already negotiated for the high-end stoves and the hot and cold drawers, so on and so forth. I've got a friend who is able to customize them so that they'll look like the counters we'll be replacing and fit the rest of the interior. They'll be bringing them in today.
why can't you people do anything right? Don't drag it, you'll scratch the wood!
Excellent. But no, really, how have you liked it so far?
Oh, it has been wonderful, believe me. Everything is going smoothly too. It has been a long time since I've worked on something on this grand a scale. Nowadays, everyone is about condos and flats, living in the city where every room is an identical box. Believe me, this is very refreshing.
We lived in a condo before this, Marianne.
I didn't mean any insult.
It's fine, sweetie. Look at you, all frazzled. I was just pulling your leg. Luke wanted that penthouse when we got married, and you can thank him for purchasing this place as well.
She looks confused. Of course, she has every right to be. She, no doubt, overheard me push the estate agent into sale, making quite the aggressive offer. She saw me sign the papers for the mansion as well. Just had to scoof.
Don't be fooled. I'm just the treasury. I wouldn't be able to make a purchase this grand without his seal of approval.
I see.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
Yes, it wouldn't be appropriate to comment further. It is unprofessional.
Unprofessional?
I couldn't help but let out a deep sigh as I stick a fork into the dish. I didn't want professional. I want someone who would either agree with me, even if just for the sake of agreeing, or someone who will try to talk some sense into me. Natural responses are so boring. There is no discourse in the middle ground.
The food is good. Best bubble and squeak.
Of course it is. Our kitchen staff only uses the freshest hand-picked ingredients.
I need to ask him about that. What the fuck is bubble and squeak? Squeak? I never heard about it. It's a British thing.
Only the best for the rights.
Mr. Wright is not joining us?
No, he's busy shouting around.
No, he is far too busy bossing people around.
Asshole.
He even refused to join me for breakfast earlier. Hence, this.
I see. My apologies. I really don't know what sort of response you expect to get from me.
There's a cloud of silverware as I slam my hand on the table. It's frustrating. I am frustrated. Luke, mostly. Marianne's natural professional answer is certainly irksome as well.
You're a human with feelings and opinions, aren't you? Don't give me this bollocks about being professional when we're having a nice friendly chat over a nice and friendly breakfast.
Maybe she doesn't want to be your friend.
I can only talk about interior designs for so long, and I detest one-sided conversations, Marianne.
But I really don't know what to say, Mrs. Wright. We were talking of no topic in particular, and...
Luke. We were talking about Luke.
About him not eating breakfast with you?
About him treating me as if I were some treasury.
I didn't realize that I shouted that out loud until it's too late. There's a stunned silence that settles before I slump back into my seat, hiding my face behind my hands. I can feel my shoulders shake. Breathe, I told myself. Calm down. But it's just so hard.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like he doesn't love me anymore. Oh, have I been so blind? Did he ever love me at all? Was our marriage all for the sake of saving his company and his wealth? Because?
Because?
Did I say all that out loud? Again? No, this is bad. Unacceptable. It has been rumored before the real reason of our engagement, but if anyone were to know of this... Marriages are necessary to carry on political and financial powers used to be a common thing, but the Evans Wright union is a perfect happily ever after. Was supposed to be. It is true that we first met each other in order to discuss dealings to make the then falling Wright enterprise subsidiary in Evans Incorporated. But I do remember being in love with him. And there were times when he said he loved me back. Even if I'm not sure if that's true now. Either way, I don't want the Wright name or the Evans name dragged through the mud because of a slip-up. We're not gonna threaten her. Marianne is a good sort, isn't she? So far she's been reasonable, accommodating, even towards Luke's ridiculous requests. Patient and professional. Did it even extend to business? Or would she be able to understand things like this is not as simple, not as clean as they're painted to be? Certainly I can talk to her. Ask for her...
I won't speak a word, Mrs. Wright. Not only am I contractually obliged to, it would also go against my principles.
Phew.
This is no one else's business but your own, and it should be kept between the two of you.
Thanks you, Marianne.
And whoever you wish to seek counsel from.
Please, Marianne. You have to understand. These sort of affairs, if anyone were to know this, they could just twist it and we'll be ruined. All I ask for is your silence on the matter.
If I am to be frank, Mrs. Wright, this isn't new for me. You aren't the first, and you certainly won't be the last to have complicated dealings. Unless what you're doing is illegal, I turn a blind eye.
Can I trust her?
If I wasn't in the same boat, I'd be trying to pry those secrets and gossip with you about them by now.
Well, I'm keeping that information confidential as well.
It's not like I've had any other choice, do I?
Thank you.
And continue to eat our meal in peace, finishing the last of the food and drink. When the door to the parlor opens, Marianne and I are sitting in silence.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
I give him nothing but a small nod.
This was a wonderful meal, Marianne. You're free to return to your duties. I must excuse myself.
It was my pleasure. And thank you for the food as well.
Making my way downstairs, I look back and I see Marianne giving me a nod and a small smile. That certainly put me in a lighter spirits. An interview with Luxury Living. That is today, isn't it? Oh yes. People had caught the wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time, and allowed a photo shot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Well, There were complications, and it took longer than it usually does for us. Hopefully, I won't have any other unfortunate slip-ups with someone who isn't bound by confidentiality. The mansion grounds will be one of the first things to be fixed up, aside from the bedrooms. Although it's still a work in progress, it has a promising start, and now we see flower patches. Luke's favorite daffodil stands out easily, having been transplanted from the pots he used to litter the rooftop of our penthouse. Why, is the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them? They declared he didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of the discussion. In the garden that I see him standing under the flowers in a quiet admiration. It's hard to miss the hulk of a man that clearly did not belong, and the big backpack and suitcase he has with him makes him look much larger. It's a peculiar sight, seeing someone look like he does handling a little delicate thing with such care. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am. Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
You look familiar. Have we met?
I have a very wide social circle, so everyone looks familiar at one point or another. But one would think I remember someone who stands out like him. The struggle to recall must have evicted on my face as he quickly and kindly answers my questions.
Oh, I was with Isabella, your estate agent, when she had the house blessed.
Oh, yes, that's right. Small world, isn't it?
Should have known you were Miss Wright.
The one and only. Welcome, welcome to Maison de Right.
Come again?
And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed, but it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own. We've had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Hannah, if I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hannah.
Alrighty then. Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Wright. Hannah.
Zachary proves quickly enough that I can, in fact, trust him. His skills with the camera and experience in the industry, at the very least. He's kind and courteous, listening and following as I lead him through the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well, whenever we cross paths with them. I answer his questions to the best of my abilities. He's patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask what the bags are for. They're quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he has procured several items to embellish the interior with: bowls of fruit, lemons, trays with pepper, mills, stacks of cooking books, cutting boards, glass canisters filled with colorful nuts and grains are brought into the kitchen setting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in that large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights. Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Props?
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best.
Oh, jeez.
I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
We go through the rooms, one at a time, although we first tackle the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. The ballroom needs a little preparation with its grand design, although there is some trouble at first, with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. In the kitchen, the Zachary's props come in handy, considering how Johannes keeps the place so neat and sterile. One can practically eat off the floor. We carry on touring the house, taking pictures where we can, with exceptions to the bedrooms which has yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he's using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. With the way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I am not too worried about the butchered photographs. Blech. I imagine photography being a cartridge for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There's a small snippets of conversation between the clicking of camera. He often goes as far as to talk all these terminologies like shutter speeds and aperture when I ask about the technique suspects. I can't quite see the picture as it's made, much like when I watch artists paint on their canvases. But just watching someone passionately practicing their craft, such as this, is exciting in its own way. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for the both of us. Despite that, he's been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile. But it is as we're taking pictures in the foyer that everything comes to standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And I have not been paying attention, I wouldn't have noticed. It's merely a split second when Sakura's rhythm is put to a halt. His fingers doesn't move to release the shutter. Yet he also doesn't pull the camera away from his face, gaze still firmly fixed throughout the viewing finder. His hands shake and there's a light sheen of sweat on his forehead.
Zachary?
No response.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind it before shaking his head. Turning around though, I see nothing that had gotten his could have gotten his attention.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something I saw. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
I struggled to respond this time. There's sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my chest. Must be those big boobs. That's my idea. Everything stops. And everything starts again as I manage to choke out.
If you're sure.
I don't know what is happening. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. And he said he's fine. We continue at the same pace as before, although there is an unspoken agreement that we're not to talk about what happened.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
Maybe I've been out of line, sticking my nose into other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so as I see his shoulders slump, and then easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn, and whatever he wants to talk about, if he wants to talk about it or not.
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
He hesitates, but when I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Some French shit I cannot pronounce. Dark blue, the darkest hour of the Black British. He speaks with a passion of one who has gone through the very matter he's concerned with. There's a conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I wouldn't have told him that he's an amazing speaker if he wasn't ever so engrossed in listening. Prejudice and discrimination in schools and in workplace. Less chance of opportunity and higher chance of being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks and the people of color in general still being treated like second-class citizens, all because of the color of their skin. And it's all positively riveting and sad. It comes to a point wherein he soon loses steam. He looks abashed, realizing what he has just done.
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all. You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely. You do have very beautiful eyes.
Uh-huh. Thanks, I guess.
I want to say that I understand where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I have lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. Certainly don't know how I would fare were it all any different. Would I still have met Luke? Would he still have loved me, if I was any less?
What was your home like? These things you talk about, it sounds like you've... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean.
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat. And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around. But a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
Oh, that I knew. Children can be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards and the stolen item isn't a pencil but an expensive heirloom.
So what about you? How you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive.
It's nice, I suppose.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully. It's just that...
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
I was a little girl, all dolled up and treated like a fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting to me hand and foot. All the material possession anyone could ever want. I could ask for a whim, and it would be handed to me just like that. But I barely saw my parents, so goodbye kisses in the morning before they went off to who knows where they were needed to next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really. It makes you think how alone you are.
A pensive mood overcomes us, and there is the moment when neither of us are sure how to go on from there. Things have gotten a little bit too personal, yet it isn't wholly uncomfortable like we've been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make home out of it yet.
He certainly makes it easy to believe that. Michelle's house indeed looked a lot like this one, just as large and extravagant, and just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde mansion.
It's called Oh My God! Oh My God!
What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, The Darkest Hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment. Probably not expect me to go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and after snapping a few shots, he grins.
Yeah, vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French.
She's blushing.
You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
Though I don't know about quoting fancy poetry, but I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
Say money peak.
It's been a long time since I had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. No, Louise certainly not a good friend. Not although we just met Zachary, it's the sort of who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around with. A bit too comfortable. The photo shoot went by a breeze. And somewhere along the way, as we talked and laughed, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. He'll give me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after agreed to do his little interview. It's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly is not odd, it's how I am. Zachary's one's being odd. Why, anyone else would absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. He should have used different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy. He should be able to handle me. If all of it is a friendly touch there, pretty smile here, and the gentle swaying of the hips as I move around. Zachary grew more and more red every time he noticed. Am I being mean as I find enjoyment in seeing him so unraveled? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing, right? Zach and I are just having playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? No. Did it go up? No, I didn't. I have no obligation to do so. At any rate, he's sort of cute. It's a bit fun seeing him squirm. What's the worst that can happen? I doubt it would be anything bad because you know how much of a gentleman he is.
Oh, stop doing what, Zach, sweetie?
Touching my arm and looking at me like that?
Pause, giving him a baffled look. This is certainly the first time a man has ever complained about me being too friendly.
I'm not doing anything wrong. Come on now, don't be like that. It's just a bit of fun.
A bit of harmless fun.
I'm sorry. It's just really uncomfortable and I don't think either of us want Mr. Right to see us and think there's any funny business. I'm sorry. Look, can we just... We're finished with the interview already, aren't we? Maybe it's about time I go.
Oh, you must be joking.
No, I'm not.
You're certainly the odd one. Don't be such a killjoy. A little bit of flirting never hurt anyone. Other men would simply be delighted by my interest in them. Besides, you really are such a cutie.
Well, I'm not them, Hannah. So, yeah, I'm probably odd.
I don't understand you.
Let me put it this way. You're a pretty lady, so this must have happened to you at least once or twice. How would you feel if someone was making you uncomfortable? Only for them to refuse when you ask them to stop and they make you out to be the one that's wrong?
This isn't the same as that.
I try to argue his point. He starts to pack the rest of his bags. This is preposterous. May now agree. What sort of man complains about a beautiful woman being friendly with them? It seems logical in my head, but the moment I try to say it, it starts to fall apart.
Yes, it is. Unwanted advances don't make me feel macho or anything like that. I'm not here to argue morals or ethics, Miss Wright. I think I have more than enough for the interview, if that's fine with you. I may be starting to overstay my welcome.
I feel deflated, and things are going so smoothly too. I ended up pushing too hard just when I might have found myself a good friend. I'm not sure if I feel awful because I'm not getting what I want, because I was just compared to the pigs I so despise.
You're not even going to let me apologize.
You're not a bad person, Hana. Just
Because I really am sorry.
people won't always be how you want them to be. And apology accepted. But I really do need to go. A friend of mine is expecting me, and it's getting late.
Will you visit again? I will be asking for copies of those photographs.
Yeah, sure. I'll make you a copy.
That would be much appreciated. I'll ask Johans to see you out.
It stuck to my stomach as I watched Zachary leave. It's silly to be upset over falling out with a man who was only a few hours ago a complete stranger to me. It doesn't excuse my boorish behavior at all. It doesn't make the ill feeling any better. Idling about, I stare off into space and share how I feel. And I stay a good while just standing there until the sun sets in the horizon. Disheartened, I proceed back into the mansion for supper. Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. It is dark. For a moment, I thought the electricity worked. It's not up to par. But that clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright and not with artificial light. Finding the light switch is the moment task considering the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants this room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. And my skin starts to prickle, and there's this distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me and only spurs me on in my search. And when I do open the lights, there is a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
What the fuck is he drinking his screen? Are you drinking absinthe? There, at the end of the hall, is my beloved husband with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. No, it's absent. However, I feel myself going livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleaming mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe? You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke. Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much.
You really have a problem, dude.
You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hana, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
Wow.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
Did it go up? Did it go down? What did it do? I have no reason to tell lies. It's not like I'm guilty of anything. But as Luke's expression turns, he makes me feel like I actually am to blame for something. It's a way of making me lay bare with just a look. And and that really struck me when we first met years ago.
That giant Negro?
Whoa, stop going there. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's not cool. That's not cool, dude.
You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing. I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup. He must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that. But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, one wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning. He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
His eyes were the first thing I noticed about him. They were like nature, the grass and the greens, wonderful and breathtaking. Now as I look at him, they're nothing but the same shade of green as the bloody damn drink in his hand.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hannah.
No, I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
Hangover forgotten during the course of this little spat, and man jumps to his feet. It looks like he's barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want. And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes. Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Stop! Seriously, dude, stop!
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous.
My god, he is such a dick. Like, a royal dick.
Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast had been served, well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. What the fuck? A platter of native oysters for starters, and a trench of turbot with purple sprouting broccoli, lemon and capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. To finish it all off, black tea and the golden syrupy sponge pudding with custard. But when our appetizers are appeased and the plates are cleared away... Hey, how are you? Luke stands and kisses me goodnight, leaving me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of the night, I sit in the house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There's no need for tears, however. I know I can get through it, just like every other obstacle I faced before. This is a minor setback in... Setback in? Oh, what I hoped would be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and for our future children fills me with a renewed vigor. Something that's crying again. Besides, it looked like someone's having a cry already. The veiling is far away and muffled. Yet at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering... It's a... I'm not really that far in. But it's a visual novel horror game. It's taking its kind of time to build up. I quite like it. I haven't played a visual novel in quite a time, really. But mostly it's about this mansion. So we have all these people that I'm guessing we're gonna play. Plus we have like... We played through 2 people so far. So I'm guessing each person has their own chapter. And we're kind of they're all kind of involved around this house that's haunted. Or so they say. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. It probably is fucking standing right beside us. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prinkle with goosebumps. Who is that? Why are we following the crying? This is a bad idea. Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound in the kitchen. And into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I'm curious and concerned, but there is no way I'm going down into the dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite a connoisseur or French word I don't know how to fucking explain. However, I also kind of bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talk. Oh, I love Mad Father. That's a good game. This is quite... It builds up the characters quite a lot, so I quite like it. It's quite good. After all, it wouldn't be the first time I'd gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they're still humans. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who calmed them down, who'd helped them figure out how to go about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirit now, as I'm not a holy some words in the English words I can't say again. Let's be an idiot. Let's open this hatch. Let's open it. I may not be going down, but there's no point in talking through closed doors. It does sound like maybe it is Moaning Myrtle. Moaning Myrtle, is that you down there? Girl? Well. Or Hatches in this case. The thing refuses to budge at first until there's a soft click and it easily swings free. As I lift up the hatch and look down in the cellar, a sensation of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo or nauseous, but also the darkness. It's suffocating. And as I look down, it feels like it's looking back at me. I wonder that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. I can hear her whispering. Calling for me. She wants me. Needs me. She wants to drown me, pull me down, and suffocate me in her embrace until I sink into the bottom. A deep abyss waiting, inviting yet foreboding. She's calling to me from in there, isn't she? And I do want to help, I do. The shadows threaten to creep out, and a feeling of apprehension keeps me in place. Already, it paints the room in a darker light. It's like the dream all over again. Ooh, creepy music. There is a hook to my stomach as well. But this time, it doesn't pull me back. Instead, it pulls me forward. There is a lurking sensation, and the feeling that follows after is hard to explain. It feels like I'm watching myself on the sidelines, a prospector to my own actions, or lack thereof. I will myself to snap out of the detached feeling to move, to do anything except stare at myself. And for a moment, I see the look of fear in my own face. I'm back in my body, but the hook in my stomach is no longer the only one. There are hooks everywhere, tearing and pulling at my skin, flesh and bones. They pull at me in every direction and it hurts. It hurts so much, but I can't bring myself to scream out.
Help me.
What? Ah! What? I wasn't ready for that. Ah, I missed that. Ew, what the hell? Sometimes I'm really not prepared for those quick time events. Thank you so much for the follow. It's much appreciated, and welcome to my stream. Hope you enjoy your stay. And the creepiness of the stream. Ooh, I'm scared as scoo. Glad I didn't die there. I did die earlier. Wasn't very nice. I wake from a deep slumber. It's taken a while with the fog that has settled in my head and with my heavy limbs. But as soon enough, I manage to look around. I'm in a bedroom already, although I do not recall going there. Luke slumbers beside me, looking peaceful and angelic. It doesn't matter. I'm safe, and I feel better than ever. Tomorrow, better days will come. Ooh, or so we think. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There is not a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call for him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is very upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I'm more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Hello, Helen. Today's going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxborn is invited. There will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances, who has made none less important regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discussed business, and the last minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from original plans. Bear any huge addition to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the right mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted was completely practical. In the end, he had to... I don't know that word. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. In the end, I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from an antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly ever have any guests to spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for the visit on one of our hotels instead. Always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedrooms in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No. I did not agree with him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around, then? It'd be best if we can note down his requests right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
I didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I've already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo amongst the high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them really. Or most of them at least. There's always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But to put your trust in the wrong person, and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with the plans to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she's interested or not. Although that makes things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
What do I think of the matter, ma'am?
No, what do you think of my hair? It feels so lifeless and dull today, and that's no good for a party. And I think I'm breaking out into zits.
Now that you mention it, there is something different.
Oh, thank you for dropping by. Have a good day. Hope to see you soon.
There better not be something on my face.
I wouldn't worry about that. You do look a little paler than usual, ma'am. I apologize if I'm crossing any lines here, but have you been resting properly?
Huh. You'd think I get a bit tanned with how sunny it's been lately. Don't you worry. I feel right as rain and never better. But back to the matter at hand.
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Of course I want you to be honest.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it. I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, take a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on. I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I allowed to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to say professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really don't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not cleverer than I like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital problems? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? Hey, babe. We put up the act for a perfect couple for years, although it's always been an act. Marianne is more than keen than the average person, of course. Is it a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us? Yes, that is it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
Did her relationship status go up? Yeah, it did. She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There's a calm despite the nature of what's being discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that it might be a calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have shorter measures, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. What, 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see where our relationship can bring us. At the same time, 7 years? Well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought of it might last for a very long time. I dreaded the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements would turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment in our blissful union turned sour. When did he start to seek other women, lacking any ulterior motives? When did we start to cooperate only to suit our material greed and attention-seeking ways? Money and success. Fame and glamour. Are those the only reasons we're still together? It's a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for long and moved to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure on how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency which provides staff for the right enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even though a very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on its own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move from in the droves, carrying crockery and silverware, good for several dozen people in the sum. Chefs and bartenders tail off after Johannes, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen into the wine cellar. They pursue the stocks to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with the idle chat. Floral decor worth thousands filled vases, wreaths and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. It is followed by a simple cake, just a few 5 tires, white chiffon, one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of the edible gold leaves. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will tend to all this and find myself unable to focus or care on any of it, I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering, with only a few selected invited, namely the people I would actually trust to enter my home. I didn't want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke right, and I cannot help but add another question in my growing list of curious. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty shell of gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I can work my way up to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, addition, license, public relations, supervision of staff, and I generally have a huge sleeve of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker, but even back then, I have dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looking for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we married, where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we had for breakfast. Or would it be like cats or dogs more? We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands prefer wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who's always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, to take care of them in his absence. They said I had no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society. But I listened. Before I could fall further into introspective pit of self-loathing, someone called for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him.
He's probably drunk.
Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars lined up in the driveway, preparing the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand Tours, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car or two, convertibles, grand saloons, other luxury cars can be seen parked at the valet. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own car. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxembourg. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for winter holidays?
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange, sunshine we're experiencing before gloomy skies eventually return. They greet acquaintances and friends with a warm smile, others less so. From here I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience and necessity. However, there are also a few who's not here to further cement their current place in high society. pose as just a young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the look he receives from women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Man from the Orient. Or the rose-haired woman talking on her phone, where she looks unsure why she's here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
Becca, what are you doing here? I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. Yeah, and the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
Then there are people like the chief inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal. You've hidden his body.
Could be possible. I can see myself doing that.
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead.
Or do you?
The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out.
I'm sure you deserve that.
Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have a short conversation or merely shake hands and nod heads, I'm sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stranglers now adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. Make sure your guests are well fed, have a good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. Some of my opening remarks are done, and the band starts to play, and the guests are starting eating. I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I'm pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group, entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more than to make music. One of our hotel managers worried about stolen belongings of one of his patrons, failing in security which would be brought up to high authorities soon. Our major, well, his cat died. And there's rose-haired woman once again. It's hard not to notice her with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace of the other ladies have, though that doesn't make her any less beautiful. Her stance in the air is indeed are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it's not great mystery that occupies her own attention, with the glance that she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She Remains unaware, though. Even has to stand beside her, pretending that I'm there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenu, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over. I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and he wonders why he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
In all my life, I've never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade in her hair did not help as well. It's the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Great. My attention is pulled from the girl and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I'm nothing but a pig at a slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and nearly drop my drink. But then, in a blink, she's gone, and the bust of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but are you all right?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd never bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been so keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses! And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A. What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more listed of names, the more red and more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I'm triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely, I haven't been mean when she visited her with her mom. I can't remember at all.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
There's a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correct.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress, or the pink blouse and the petite coat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all those years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though, looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at the time, never to take it to heart. For all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music and strings and chatter slows to a grind halt as the door from the foyer opens. The last of the last comer has arrived moments ago. Anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face, and this can only be the person, or rather one man. There's only one man who does see enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party?
Yep.
I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Asshole. Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to his presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight to be shone. And I will never put it against him when she smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under scrutiny that he challenged his own showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up when he speaks. How they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hand here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. And I always tell him that, if he's not to be a businessman, he should do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me, and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally. Praises on their lips. Is this because of that I do not see her? I do not see her till she's dangerously close, with fury in his eyes, and she's always spitting venom. Johannes restrains her, thinking care not to senselessly harm the pregnant woman. The fuck? It doesn't little to deter her rage. The man has no choice but to let her go. At least an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see the empty wine glass in her hand. How much has he imbibed in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out amongst the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol in her breath, I'm not ticked off by the little display of hers. At least not yet. But I am possibly pissed off at the fact that she'd endanger her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of strain and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecisible.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir.
So you're a baby, Luke. Did you hump her?
What is even going on?
Just about to ask the exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass!
Oh boy.
You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the chief inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Called it.
God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
What? What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with... Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
What the hell? It's now that Jonas returns with the security along with the concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he had heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man. Not that I believe Rochelle. Luke will never. You wanna go as far as sleep with another woman, right?
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing there but ramblings of a drunk? Of course, nothing but rambling of a drunk. She's just jealous. Jealous of this wonderful marriage, this happily ever after that I have with my prince.
Take that trollop out of here immediately! And see to it that she isn't allowed here or anywhere we hold any authority in Luxborn.
To be banned from anything with the right name on it is basically social suicide. We practically own half of Luxembourg. There isn't a single establishment to repute that isn't under our patronage, one way or another. This is mercy. I can do worse to her. At least this way, she can move out of the city and never ever return. I have stayed in my hand in the face of her grievous fault. Her bold-faced lies when she deserves so much more. I can take away her business, have her factories shut down. It's too easy to ruin her life until she's not nothing. And it's all so tempting. I can only see red. Tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraced the room is nearly deafening. They are worried and almost fearful glances for some of the guests, yet at the same time I can still hear them whispering. But as long as they hold their tongues and don't interfere, none of those matter to me. Especially when Darren looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as he's proud of what I've done, and it spurs me on more than anything.
Everyone, please go back to enjoying the party. Don't let that mess of a woman ruin your night.
You heard her! Strike up the band, maestro, and let us dance like fireflies in the night!
It takes a bit of the crowd to stare again, in the face of all of that. Like the most problem of the elite, he's brushed under the rug and forgotten in the favor of merriment. He offers his hand to me with a small smirk and a bow.
Well, that was a mess, wasn't it? And you handled it magnificently.
It happens. We are very important people, are we not?
Milady, would you like to dance?
With pleasure, my prince.
No one's going to get in between me and my darling husband. Not Rochelle or any other rich, naughty scrubber. Not some common whore or ambitious maid. No one is going to get near him in the manner that while I'm around. And if I have anything to say about it, no one is going to get near him at all. The day after proved to be a difficult task. My darling prince is a man of many connections, a man of the people. He's always talking to a person or another, and I'm always left alone, unable to stay at his side at all times. It's frustrating, but I have to be understanding. Besides, I don't see why he can't stay at home. The least I can do is make sure I have his time when he's here, which, in itself, isn't as easy as it sounds. Not with that bloody valet of his tailing around.
Johans! Where's my tie? I can't find it anywhere.
Have you looked around your neck? It should be there if it's not on your clothes horse, sir.
It's not often I'm awake this early, at least early enough to find my darling preparing for the day with his valet attending to him. It's an old-fashioned way to get about in the morning. He's able to dress himself, after all. But he says it really makes it easier for him to have someone else do it tediously, a task, bait with the grimace. Although if that manservant of his dislikes the duty so much, I'll gladly do his deed.
I've got it, my prince. Come here.
Well, someone's up and at them especially early this morning, huh? Here I thought you'd be knackered by all the dancing we did last night at the party. And after that... well...
A saucy little wink and a smile is what he offers as he draws closer to fix his tie. When the valet reaches out with his perfume, I quickly take it and shoo him aside. This close, his sense fills me with the smell of white flowers, cocoa, cardamom, and almond. It's intoxicating. The sight of the two of us in the vanity mirror is pictured as perfect. Can I help if I feel a bit resentful that another person gets to do this for Luke every morning when I could have done it myself? No, I can't.
You're dismissed, Shroken. I have this. Go on then. You'll be summoned if you're needed.
There's a curious look, furrowed brows, before any sigh that he cares is wiped from his expression.
Very well. If you need me, I'll be somewhere that isn't here.
You could have let the man do his job.
And I say there's no need for him. I can take care of you just fine, my prince. Just where are you off to this morning anyway?
I hate the thought of him leaving me. Feels like an eternity without him here in this lonely place that doesn't feel like a home quite yet. although the mansion really is growing on me, slowly but surely. I want to be at his side, yet he faces such an obvious thing.
Business. Where else?
Why can't you just work from home? You can afford to, can't you?
Business needs a firm hand and a personal touch, Buttercup. Besides, I can't stay cooped up forever in here. I'll go mad.
Well, you'll come back home as soon as possible, won't you? It's so awfully lonely here without you, my prince.
I could. I don't see why I should, though. This hasn't been a problem before. You know I'll come home when I come home.
Just get home as soon as you can. For me, won't you?
No promises. It's business after all. I can't just stand up in the middle of the meeting and tell them the wife wants me home.
Then forget those peasants.
Peasants. He stops and stares, looking perturbed for a moment before shaking his head. Is he feeling ill? It's more reason for him to stay here with me, doesn't it? I'm just being a good wife, worrying about my husband and all.
Be good, dear. And stay safe. There's been all sorts of dodgy characters seen about the property. I'll be leaving Johans with you, just in case you need anything, and to be on the safe side, okay?
But I don't need a valet. I need you here with me.
I'll be closing a big deal with a pharmaceutical company soon, if things go according to plan. Maybe, after that, I can take a breather for a bit.
No maybes. You have to promise me.
I only needed him.
I'm going to be late, Hannah. The longer this takes, the later I'll get home.
Fine. Shall I see you out?
If that's what you want.
At the front door, the valet waits, ready to accompany him for the rest of the day, but he's told to stay and attend to me. I still don't like it. It looks like he doesn't either, but I ignore him in favor of one of those who really matter. I hold Luke's hand in mine and give him a deep kiss. It makes my heart flutter to see the way his eyes closes during a moment of passion. Parting for air, I can only smile.
Have a good day, my prince.
Right. Off I go.
I still don't want him to leave. He should just stay. Forever.
If you could let go of my hand, please, Hannah.
It's just so hard to let go when I finally have him in my grasp. To watch him enter his car and leave me pains me so. It leaves behind an aching, gaping hole like a hunger and a need. And the content until she returns.
If it fits you, breakfast is ready in the parlor, madam.
If anything, I will be in a foul mood until he returns.
Leave and go practice your bloody sodomy elsewhere.
Oh wow, what the fuck?
Peculiar.
When I turn around to hiss at him to leave, he's already gone, and that suits me fine. I want to be alone without anyone bothering me. I want to be alone with myself and my thoughts, with only these walls as company. These damn walls which holds his memories, just he and I. There's no one else I need but my prince. Not some cheeky servant who's just living up because he's Luke's right-hand man. Rubbish like him deserves nothing. He deserves to be thrown and locked in the attic. Without realization, my feet has brought me in here. This empty, lifeless room disgusting me. The longer I stare at it, the harder it gets to breathe, as if the walls are moving in on me. Yet at the same time, it pulls me in. I hear whispering, and curiosity gets the better of me as if I look under the bed. There, on the far corner, a loose floorboard. The wood, despite having swelled and warped over the years, is strangely familiar, comforting in its feel. Though it's not merely that my hand searches for as I reach for it, it takes quite an effort, but soon I'm able to lift it. And inside, underneath the dust and cobwebs, lies a pendant, warm and familiar. And I swear, if I just close my eyes, I can feel it beating in my palm. I feel a thrill, though I also feel like a thief for taking this. But it's mine, so without delay, I hide in our room. In front of the vanity, I see the ways my eyes shine as I remove the clasp of my old necklace and put this new one. It fits a lot better than the old one. I can feel its weight on my chest.
Right where it belongs.
She's going fucking mental. Okay, I think that's a good place to save this. And we'll come back to it tomorrow. So thank you for joining me. There'll be more tomorrow. See you then.